TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News Bulletin broadcast from Jerusalem. U.S. President Donald Trump asserts either Iran accepts a deal or the United States may have to return to finish the job. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps has launched multiple projectiles towards American assets in the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf country of Kuwait. An Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar asserts neither Lebanon nor Israel can experience peace so long as Hezbollah exists. U.S. President Donald Trump has sent several Middle Eastern heads of state, to include Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the draft of a memorandum of understanding with Iran for their review and comments. The draft proposal was delivered in the past day and was also discussed by President Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister in a telephone conversation last night. It is yet clear whether this draft has already been accepted by Tehran or whether it is only the latest American proposal. That said, this development may be indicative of progress and might possibly point to a near agreement with the Islamic Republic. Meanwhile, a regime-controlled television network in Iran reported yesterday what it described as an unofficial draft of a 14-point Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU. According to that report, the United States commits to lift its naval blockade on Iran and to withdraw its troops from the country's vicinity. In return, Iran will commit to restoring the volume of commercial maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz to its pre-war levels. Nevertheless, per the report, Iran would continue to maintain maritime jurisdiction in coordination with Oman over the international waterway, among other claimed American concessions. President Donald Trump, however, during a cabinet meeting, rejected this claim and other points vehemently.
The strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
President Trump was further asked, based on circulating reports, on whether he would feel comfortable with Russia or China taking over Iran's stockpiles of highly enriched uranium, and separately, whether reports about allowing Iran to export crude oil as part of the MOU was truly on the table.
Would you be comfortable with Russia or China taking their stockpile of highly enriched uranium, and have they offered?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable. That would not make me comfortable.
Is the U.S. considering easing sanctions on Iran to allow Iran to sell its crude to market?
No, we're not talking about any easing of sanctions or giving money. No sanctions, no money, no nothing. We have control of money that they claim is theirs. We'll keep control of that money. And when they behave properly and when they do what's right, we'll let them have their money. But right now, we're not doing that, and it's not, one thing is not contingent on the other.
President Trump stressed that while the terror regime in Iran want very much to make a deal, nevertheless, the United States may have to go back in and finish the job, essentially realizing prospects of regime collapse.
As I've said 1,000 times, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, everything's gone, and they're negotiating on fumes. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we have to go back and finish it, maybe we don't. Right now, I mean, you can speak to Steve Witkoff and Jared, they're doing a good job, but right now I think it looks like they want to just make a deal. They want to. They have. I don't think they have a choice. They're just going back to the internet because they're getting clobbered. Their economy is in free fall. They have 250% inflation. Their money has no value. Their whole economic system is broken down. They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night. That was the prelude to the midterms. People understand it. They know that, very simple, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm doing that for the world. I'm not doing it just for us. And we've had great support from other nations, by the way. We don't need it at all, but we've had great support from other nations. The problem is you always get the support when you don't need it. When you need it, you don't get the support. With Operation Epic Fury, our warriors are ensuring that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror never obtains a nuclear weapon, and they won't.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, for his part, seized the opportunity to re-emphasize the root cause for America's unwavering engagement vis-a-vis the Ayatollah regime in Iran.
The bottom line is Iran's never going to have a nuclear weapon. And if recent events have done anything, is just remind us once again that they are the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. And they can never have a nuclear weapon. Now, the president's preference, Mr. President, your preference has told us repeatedly, is always to negotiate these things and to figure out if you can have agreements. Diplomacy is always the first option. And we continue to work on that through your envoys, Mr. Woodcoff and Kushner and others, the vice president, who've been very involved. And if there's an agreement to be made, we want that to be made. I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress could be made. I just want to remind everybody, Mr. President, you know this well, you have other options available to you if that doesn't work. But the bottom line is that we prefer the negotiated diplomatic route, and we're going to give it every chance to succeed. I know you're giving it every chance to succeed, Mr. President. But here's the bottom line, because I keep getting asked, what is this all about? It's very simple. Iran and these people in charge of Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, and they most certainly will not have one as long as you're President of the United States. On that point, it's very clear.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, for his part, underscored the U.S. military's preparedness to re-engage with the Ayatollah regime in Iran if they ultimately fail to concede to America's demands.
They may have missiles, but they can't build more right now, and they can't build more drones right now, and they can't build more ships. And so they came and cried uncle to talk, which Steve and Jared and the vice president and others are doing so ably. And during that time, we put in a world-class blockade. And they haven't been able to bring anything in or anything out from Iranian ports. And we know from the intel that their economy is hurting big time because that is their lifeblood. And again, bringing them to the table. So whether it is through the efforts of your negotiators that they ensure that they never have a nuclear weapon, or we have to go back to the War Department to finish the job that way, we're prepared to do that.
While the Trump administration continues to give diplomacy a chance, the Ayatollah regime's terror arm, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, or IRGC, has launched 5 one-way attack drones towards an American vessel that, according to U.S. Central Command, posed a clear threat in and near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces responded by intercepting all of the incoming drones successfully, and in addition, an American aircraft prevented a 6th drone launch from an Iranian ground control site in Bandar Abbas by eliminating the target on the ground. Subsequently, a couple of hours later, the IRGC launched a ballistic missile towards Kuwait, which was successfully intercepted by Kuwaiti forces. According to a regime-run news broadcast, in Iran, the failed IRGC attack was directed at a U.S. base in the Arab Gulf country.
The IRGC Public Relations Office announced that following the aggressive U.S. military attack at dawn today, on a location near Bandar Abbas International Airport using aerial projectiles, the American base from which the attack originated was targeted at 4:50 a.m. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps warned that the response was a serious warning to make clear to the enemy that aggression will not go unanswered.
Turning to Lebanon, where the Iranian proxy Hezbollah continues to escalate its attacks against Israeli civilians and military targets in southern Lebanon and northern Israel, which effectively intensifies the IDF's operational intensity against terror targets throughout Lebanon. Among others, the Israeli Air Force struck more than 135 Hezbollah targets in the areas of Tyre, the Bekaa Valley, and southern Lebanon at large over the past 24 hours alone, to include an intelligence-driven precision strike against the commander responsible for missile operations in the IRGC's Imam Hussein division, who was operating against Israel out of the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Regrettably, it was cleared for publication that a Hezbollah one-way attack drone which struck a military post adjacent to the border of Lebanon killed Sergeant Rotem Yanai, a 20-year-old female soldier who served as the Personnel Affairs non-commissioned officer of the Givati Brigade's Rotem Battalion. May her memory be blessed and may God grant comfort to her family. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, during a Q&A session at the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, emphasized that Iran effectively occupies Lebanon by means of Hezbollah.
Lebanon lost its sovereignty. It's indirectly occupied by Iran, by Hezbollah.
Jerusalem's top diplomat continued by stressing that so long as Hezbollah exists, neither Lebanon nor Israel would experience peace.
There will be no independence and sovereignty for Lebanon or security to Israel as long as Hezbollah exists, as long as Hezbollah has the upper hand inside Lebanon. So this terrorist state must be dismantled.
Minister Sa'ar continued by addressing President Donald Trump's plan for the Gaza Strip.
So we had a plan for Gaza. It is President Trump's plan. We supported it. According to the plan, part of the plan. The advantage of the plan is it deals, I would say, with the core problems, the core issues. What are the core issues? Demilitarize Gaza, dismantle Hamas, the radicalization of the Palestinian society in Gaza Strip. All previous plans didn't dealt with the core issues, and this is why they were not successful, including the disengagement plan of 2005. This plan has the potential to be successful if it will be really implemented. And to really implement the plan, first, demilitarization. You won't be able to do anything if Hamas will control the part of Gaza. It's the minority of the territory of Gaza today, which he still controls.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News, which is made possible by the generosity of our viewers. If you are a supporter of TV7 Israel, which is exclusively donation-based, I'd like to take this opportunity once again and to thank you for your contributions, which make programs just as TV7 Israel News possible. If you haven't yet supported TV7, we are in need of your help to continue to sustain our operations. You can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and redemption of Israel. Jonathan Essen wishing you an Erev Mevorach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.